There are three overlays in LSS. Firstly, we have the terrain overlay. Every point and link in the terrain overlay is inside the triangular DTM and therefore will be contoured. And then we have non-terrain. These features are not in the triangulation and therefore will not be contoured. They may have a valid level or they may be 2D, and they can represent items such as overhead power lines, underground services, or ridge lines on buildings that do not want to be contoured. And finally, we have crossing links. These are created when data is loaded into an LSS survey and two links, both of which are defined in the legend as terrain links, cross each other. The longer of the two links is placed into the crossing link overlay, which is also non-terrain. If we go to Configure DTM Display and turn on the contours, you will see that if we draw a section through this area here, the points and links around the outside of this square are higher than the points within it. If we were to take these points out of the terrain, they could remain at their higher altitude but would not affect the triangulation. Let's go into Edit Reassign Overlay, and we want to reassign from terrain to non-terrain, and because the option non-terrain to terrain is grayed out, it means that there are currently no non-terrain features within the current survey. We can reassign individual observations, individual links, or we can use the selection filter. I'm going to select individual links and then in mode choose the whole string option. Now I can highlight the link all the way around this feature, and that has now reassigned all of those points and links into non-terrain. If I simply refresh the screen, you will see that the contours now go through those links rather than up to them. And if I turn on the triangulation, you will also see that the triangulation misses the links and goes straight through them. You can control whether specific features are automatically placed into the terrain or the non-terrain overlay when you configure them inside the survey legend. Therefore, if you always use a particular link or point feature type to represent non-terrain features, then make sure that you configure their entry in the legend to default to non-terrain. Now we have some non-terrain features within the survey. We can turn them on and off with these three icons at the top of the screen. If we wish to turn off the non-terrain, we select it, and we've now lost those non-terrain features. That's the terrain off. To help us identify on screen, we can override the LSS legend colors for the features and show them in a specific color. What I'm going to show here is all terrain in green and all non-terrain in blue. That makes it much easier to see the non-terrain information. Also, if we're querying an observation, we get a circular highlight for terrain points and a square highlight for non-terrain points. And it will also tell you in the active cursor that this is a non-terrain feature. If we now return to Edit Reassign Overlay and reverse the exercise, so take these non-terrain points and links back into terrain, but this time use Selection Filter, I'm just going to identify all non-terrain features within the current screen area, which will cover these 4 points. Apply, then finish, and you will now see that the contours now go up to these now terrain features.